Hello guys, welcome to week 3 of this projects course. Today we are going to use Python with Google Colab. You don't need to install any software and learn the basics of Python packages like Numpy, Pandas, matplotlib, and also solve some general questions using for loops and if statements. We are going to use a data set based on the food that I've been eating in January 2024. It has the breakfast, lunch, dinner and other items and the amount of calories that each food contains. We're going to do some analysis, use some interesting functions. So let's get started right away with the video. So here we have a data set. It's basically the item I had. There is a column called time ID. I'll explain what that means. Then the amount of calories of that particular food and also the date. Right? This is some sample data from Jan 2024 of the food I actually had. Like I eat dosa, cornflakes, curd rice, potato fry and so on. Okay. What is time ID here? So for time ID, we have a second table. So time ID 1 means breakfast, 2 is lunch, 3 is a snack, evening snack, and 4 is dinner. Okay, it's like the time when I have that food. So that is also marked, and we have data I think up to 15th of January, right? 1st to 15th January 2024. We're going to answer some questions based on this using Python, right? This is going to be there. Plus, we'll have some additional Python questions to solve other general concepts as well. So here we are given a list of questions. So basically, we will start doing them one by one. But before that, we also have this small clue to start with this, right? What does this mean? What to do, how to use Python, right? This is what we're going to see first. So for that, step number 1, you simply type colab.research.google.com. I will put this link in our description as well. This will take you to a place like this. So over here, you can click on new notebook, right? This is a place where you could actually write Python code and execute it, right? It will set up like this. So to begin, they just asked us to put these 2 lines of comment. I'm just going to copy, right? Let me just copy this. Okay, this one and then the second one. Okay, what does this mean is we want to be able to connect to Google Drive, right? From this, because the files, right, are in Google Drive, right? So basically these are the 2 data sets, right? If I go to my Google Drive, I've already downloaded them and uploaded them as CSVs, okay? Calories.csv and timeday.csv. They basically contain the same data. So you can upload it to your Google Drive. And then over here, we are trying to connect to Google Drive. So for that, we write this set of command as step number 1. Let's see what happens, right? It will take a little bit to connect, a little bit of time. Let's just wait patiently. And it will pop up like this. Give a permission to Google Drive. So we can just click on that and say continue, right? That will enable us to connect to the drive. And I think that's it, right? A few steps to start out. If it is done, it will give a green tick. That is how we know that it's working. Okay. It's still taking time. It says mounted. So that means this is worked. So we could add this plus code to keep adding more and more lines of code, right? First of all, we are going to import some packages, right, to actually perform some operations. One package is called as Pandas. So we will say import Pandas as PD. That will be step number 1. Now I want to read one of the data set, right? As I told you, there is calories and then there is time day CSV, 2 files. So to read the calories file, let me give it a name data. So I could use this command from pandas pd.read_csv, right? And then all I need to do is I have to copy this, okay? And then I have to write my drive, right? Because it's coming from my drive. And then the name of the file, right? This is just a syntax. So I'll say calories.csv. Okay, and now if I want to see what is there inside data, then I am able to read the file. So from our Google Drive, we have been able to bring the data into Google Colab, which is able to let us execute Python code, right? This is there. The same way, I can just copy the same thing. For time data, I will just give it a different name, right? Time data. I'm going to change this to time data, okay? And the name of the file was time_of_day.csv, okay? It's showing some error. Let me go and check. Oh, it's time day, not time of day. So I'll remove the off. Okay. Just make sure you put the correct file name, and we have that data also, right? So we are nicely set up. So data is there, which is about my food and the calories. Time data is about the time of the day, basically was it breakfast, lunch, and so on, right? And time id is the common column between these two data set. Now let us jump right into the questions and start solving them one by one. Read data from the folder. This is already done. We have finished first question. Write a command to see what type of columns are present in the data. How can we do that? So for that we could simply say, so like I'll say command to see what columns are present, right? So this is a way to write comments to make it more readable. So I will say data.info, right? So in the data table we have item, time id, calories, and the date, right? So this is how we can see. By putting info we can see what is present in the data. Notice one thing, date new is still an object or like more like a string. It's not yet date, right? Keep that in mind. We will need to address this at some point. Okay, I'm just going to keep adding more lines of code. Show only the first 15 rows of the data. How can we do that? So first 15 rows. So for that we can simply write data.head of 15. Okay, this is like limit 15 in SQL. If you say head of 15, you'll get the first 15 rows, right? Starting from 0 all the way to 14. This is how we can see the first 15 rows of data. So that question is done. Convert the date new column to date or date time data type, right? Why are they asking us to convert it? As you notice here, it's object, right? So how can we convert? So I can come here, convert date new. I'll just give it a heading. So I can say data of date new, right? This is the column, and say data of date new, right? And I want to convert it, so I can say dot apply, and Pandas has this function called to date time, right? So I want to convert it into date time. So I will do this as a first step. Okay, now that is done, if I now write data.info, let's see what we get. Now you notice date new has converted to date time type because I did the conversion here, right? So now it is no more an object. We have been able to convert it to date time. This is a simple operation, commonly asked question sometimes. Now let's move to the next question. Combine the calories and time date table, right? The two tables with the common link, right? They want us to join or merge the two tables. How can we do that? So if you notice, this is data, the other one is called as time data. Time ID is the common column, okay? So we need to join on that. So I will say combined data, right? So I'm joining both. How can we do that? I will write data.merge of the other table, time data, right? This is how you'll do. Now, what is the common column on which we want to join? Here we have to notice one thing. For the data column, data table, the column name is time ID, T with the caps. Whereas for the time data, it's time ID, but T is small letter, right? So we have to mention both. So the first table or the left table is actually the data table. So I will say left underscore on, right? What is the left column that is common on which we want to join? It is this one, right? Time ID, but T is caps. This is one. And from the right table, which is the time data table, what is the column? Is one I copied now, right? So it's time ID, but T is small, right? This is how we can combine the two tables. Now let's just quickly see how the new table will look like. Yeah, we have time ID. So based on time ID we join. Now we are able to get the time also in the same data, right? We have breakfast or dinner or lunch, whatever. We know that this is a duplicate column, right? It is same as this. So if we want, we can remove this. How to do that? You can say combine data dot drop, right? You can write like this. And let us say I write the small t time ID. Then you can say axis equal to 1, right? This basically means drop the column. And then if I want to drop it in this existing data set itself, I can write in place equal to true, right? When I do that, this combined data table will lose that particular column as we are dropping it. So now once I write that, if I write combined data again, now you notice that other time ID column is gone, right? Now we have only 5 columns because they were duplicate. I removed the other column, right? That is how you can drop a column. So now we've been able to combine them and also drop the duplicate time ID column, right? Both these are done. Now show the data, filter the data only for breakfast, right? How can we do that? So before that, I'm just going to give a heading to this. So what did we do here is merging the two data sets and also dropping duplicate column of time ID, right? This is what we did here. So now let's move to the next one, right? So I'll keep adding more and more code. So I'm just saving it again. Okay, so I'm just saving it. Something got stuck there, it's okay. So we'll continue. Show only data for breakfast. Data for breakfast. How can we filter only for breakfast? If you notice here, breakfast is there in the time column, right? So if I want to show only data for breakfast, I can write data breakfast as a new data frame. It's basically combined data, right? But within this combined data, I want to filter for this column time, right? And it should be equal to only breakfast. So whenever this combined data of time double equal to breakfast, this is how we compare and put a filter in Python. Please show or pick up that data, right? That is going to be stored into data breakfast. Now if I read data breakfast, I will see now I get only the data where the time is breakfast. This is only purely breakfast data, right? That is how you can do this question. Show only data where it is lunch and also calories, total calories more than 250. Two conditions, right? So time has to be lunch, calories must be greater than 250. So let me put the condition lunch and calories above 250. How to put this condition? So let me say data lunch and 250 above, right? I can give any name. So I will say combined data, that is the data set again. Within that combined data, I have to introduce a filter. So what is the filter? The first filter is time has to be equal to lunch, right? That's the first rule. And also you can put an ampersand and say the other column is about calories. So I'm going to copy this, right? Column name is calories with the C. And this has to be greater than 250. That is the condition. Okay. And remember, when we give multiple conditions, we have to put each of them within a separate bracket, right? So this condition in this bracket, then an ampersand or an and then the other condition again within these normal brackets. Okay. So once I do this, now let me run and see data lunch 250 and above, what data we get. Now we only get data, as you see, of lunch and only above 250, right? So basically there's only curd rice which I eat during lunch. It's more than 380 calories, and then pizza, right? Pretty much it. And then once fried rice which was 350, right? These are the only three items that I eat during lunch that have more than 250 calories, right? So that is how you could solve that question. Next one is group by time ID. Time ID is like by breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. See which had the overall highest calories intake, right? So how do we solve this question? Let me just keep adding some more code. So calories by time ID, right? So time ID column is there, but I could also do by time because time contains lunch, breakfast and all. For this, what we can do, we can simply say combine data dot group by. Here we have to do group by similar to SQL. So I want to group by time, right? And what I want to do is I want to do for calories, right? The total sum, right? So to see which is the time when I eat the most amount of food. So I can see like this. I run it, and as you see, breakfast 6650, dinner is 6175, little bit less. Snack is not every day, so it's less. Lunch is where I eat the most, right? More than 9000 calories in this 15-day time period. So lunch seems to be the highest amount of calories, the time when I eat a lot. Next one, sort the data of the given information by calories in descending order, right? So how can we do that? So this is sort by calories. This is also very straightforward question. Okay, so I can say combine data dot, there's a like order by in SQL we have sort values. So command, right? And then I can say by, what do I want to sort by? I want to sort by calories, right? Just put that column name. And what is the rule? I want to sort it in descending. So there is a function called ascending here. I mean, not a function, an argument. You can say ascending equal to false. That means you want to sort in descending order. Now let me run this. Now you see Dosa is come on the top because that's the highest 400. Banana is at the bottom because that has the lowest calories. Right? So it is getting sorted in descending order of calories. The highest calories is coming on top. This is how you could do a simple sort. Okay, just let me save it one more time. And yeah, I'm going to come back here. Next two seem very straightforward. So show the unique values for the item column. How many unique dates does the data have, right? So let's see here, unique items, right? This is very straightforward. So I can say combined data of items. I think it's item, right? Not items. So item, what are the unique values? I could simply say dot unique. So you see dosa, cornflakes, bread, smoothie, poha, carrot with cheese, beans, tamarind rice chips, pizza, all this, right? All these are the unique values of items that I have eaten in these 2 weeks time frame. If I want to find unique dates, but also do a count, right? What is that? So I can simply copy the similar formula, right? So here the column name is date new. That's the only difference. But I want to count, right? So unique is similar to distinct in SQL, right? If you want to count distinct, we can write n unique. Okay, n unique is another function that will count the number of unique values. So it says 14 values. Okay, there are 14 unique dates in the given data set. That is what they wanted us to count. How many unique dates is there in the data set. Next one, they say rename the calories column to intake, right? The calories column name should change to intake, and the time column, which is this breakfast, lunch, dinner thing, to time of day. How can we rename? Okay, this is an interesting question. Rename is a function that's also sometimes asked in interviews. So first of all, what is the rename? I can like create a new map in a dictionary. Okay, first of all, what I will do, I will write, okay, calories is there, please rename it to intake. Okay, that is what they want us to do. And the other one is, there's a column called time, so you write this colon symbol and write, I want to rename that to time of day. Okay, this is what they're asking. Step number one. Now in the original data, right, combined data, you can simply say combined data dot rename. Okay, and what is the renaming that should happen? So the columns should be changed to what is given in the map. Okay, you can say columns equal to map. What does this mean? So calories will change to intake, time will change to time of day. Now can we cross check our combined data? Let's see. Now if you notice, instead of calories we got intake, instead of time we got time of day, right? So you create a normal map using a dictionary and then use the rename function to rename the columns, right? Pretty interesting question. Then coming to next one, from 12th January to 13th January, can you show the percentage increase in total calories? Okay. Now remember, calories column has been renamed to intake. So we want to find percentage increase in intake from 12th to 13th January. How can we accomplish this? Right. So I'm going to keep adding more and more rows. So 12 to 13 Jan, percentage change in calories, right? Whether it was increase or decrease. First of all, let us see the data, right? We have combined data like this, right? Now for each day, right, we want to first do the total sum of calories, right? How can we do that? So first of all, I will say group by date new, right? I want to do for the overall day, right? Not by breakfast, dinner and all, for the overall day. So I'll do that, and then I want to do total calories. So intake is the column and do sum. Okay. So if I do like this, you will get for each day. First Jan 2024, 2150 is the overall calories. Second Jan is 2130 and so on. Right. But here, if you notice, we don't have the column name here. So if I write reset index, right, if I use this, now you'll notice we have date new and intake. Okay. This will be step number one. Now, step number two, what can we do? I want to compare it with the previous value, right? This is similar to lag function in SQL. So what can we do? I can write combined data of previous value, right? I can create a new column. How can we do this? I can say combined data of intake, right? And simply say dot shift of one, right? This will basically pick up the previous value, right? And put it in a new column called combined data previous value. Maybe I shouldn't do it on the combined data. I will do it on this calculated group by, right? So what is this? Let us say aggregated data. I will write AGG data equal to this. Okay, so I'm going to run this code, and now I want to do it on the AGG data, not on the original data. So I will also convert this and change it to AGG data. Okay, just observe what happens now. What is this shift doing? Okay, so for example, 1st Jan intake was 2150. There is no previous day value. So obviously it is null, right? NaN is like null. 2nd January 2130, previous value is 2150. We are getting that here. 4th January, for example, 2055, previous day or previous value is 1750. We are getting that here. Okay. If you notice, for 11th, it's 1225, but previous day is 1600. That is coming here, which is good, but previous day is 9th. Okay. So that is missing. We will still not be able to address that. Just going to pick up the immediate previous value of date. Okay. For us, we are just focused on 12 to 13. So basically from 13 and 12, how did it have changed, right? So 12th was 1475, it increased to 2100, but we want to do this calculation, right? So what can we do? I can just come here and add aggregate data and create a new column. Okay, percent change, right? I can give it a name. So this is going to be nothing but aggregate, like I'm going to put a bracket. So aggregate data of intake value, right, minus aggregate data of the previous value, right? Percentage changes the current value intake minus previous value, this overall thing divided by aggregate data of the current, the previous value. So that will show how much it has increased from the previous day or how much it has decreased, right? So something like this. I think there's an extra symbol here. This should be good. Okay, let's now see aggregate data, what value we get. Okay, so we're getting, for example, on 13th, right, from 12th, if you compare, 1475 became 2100. So that's almost a 42.37% increase. From 12th to 13th Jan, I increased my calorie intake by 42.37%. Okay, this is how you can do this question. So this is nice use case of the shift function, right? It's very similar to lag. So I'm just going to add more and more lines. Let's go back to the questions. Use some function in Numpy. Numpy is another package to create a new column which says small meal if the time of the day is snack. Otherwise, it has to say main meal, right? This is a very simple use case, right? Similar to the if function in like Excel. So I'm going to go back here. What I can do, so this is Numpy function. So I can first import the package Numpy and call it as np. Now for this new function, I can say combine data of, let me say meals, right? New column. So what should it say is, the function is np.where, numpy.where. So basically when the time of day, right? That is the column, right? Whenever the time of the day is double equal to snack, right? I have to call it small meal. Otherwise call it big meal. Okay, this is what they want us to do. Simple calculation like if. Now if I see combine data, I'll have the new column. Okay, so breakfast is a big meal, dinner is a big meal. Wherever there is snack, right? So if I want to quickly verify this data for snack, it should show small meal, right? So wherever this time of day is equal to snack, make sure you put the spelling right. Let's see. So wherever it is snack, you see it's small meal. So our logic is working, right? Dinner, breakfast, and lunch will be big meal. Snacks is small meal. So that is how we can do. Use np.where. It comes from the Numpy package. Okay. Moving on to the next one. Rank the food. So we need to do ranking, which had the highest overall intake for breakfast, dinner, and so on, right? What does this question actually mean is, in breakfast, which was the food which had the highest total number of calories? Was it dosa? Was it bread? Same way for lunch. Was it curd rice? Was it tamarind rice? Whatever. Same way for dinner. Was it pasta or was it something else? For each time of the day, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, which food had the highest total calories? How can we do this? This is another interesting question. So like rank food for each time of day, right? There is a rank function similar to SQL in Python. We will try to explore that, right? So I'm going to first load the data, combine data, and what I want to do first is I will say combine data. Let us say this is ranking, right? So I'll give it a name, rank data. So I want to do combine data dot group by, right? And I want to group two things, right? So based on time of day and also the food, right? Basically the item, because I can eat the same item on multiple days. And for this, I want to do the total sum of intake, right? Let me do this. Let's see what I get. Okay. So now let me see rank data, what is there. Okay, I'm getting like this. So if I do reset index, right, I will rerun this. Let's see what we get now. Now we get three columns. So breakfast, totally bread, I have taken 1000 calories, right? So for instance, if I come to the data here, bread is 250 per day. So maybe I've taken bread 4 times, right, in this 2 week time period. And same with so on, right? Poha, total calorie intake is 400, and poha was part of breakfast, right? So in breakfast, dosa is 1600. But in dinner also, some days I've taken dosa, that is 700, right? This is how we are splitting the data. Now we want to give a rank, right, within breakfast, which is the topper, right? So if we look at the data here, can quickly see, I think it looks like cornflakes is the highest in breakfast in terms of intake. How do we give a ranking? For that, can create a column called rank and see how this logic works. So I can say rank dot group by, okay, and I want to group by time of day. Okay, so this group by is very similar to the partition by we use in rank in SQL. Time of day, and what do I want to rank? I want to rank the intake. So I'll say dot rank of, and here you have multiple methods. Okay, method you see within that you have average, min, max, first, and dense. Dense is similar to dense rank. Then we have first, min, max. You can play around. For now, I'm going to just put first, right? This is one of the methods, and then ascending or descending, right? This is like order by, ascending is false, right? Because I want to do it descending order of calories. Now let us see what rank data is showing, right? So group by time of day is like partition each time of day separately, then total the intake value is already total, and find the rank, right? So within breakfast, which is the highest, within lunch, which is the highest, we will be able to find this out. Now let's run the query and see. So notice we got the rank, right? So within breakfast, rank 1 goes to cornflakes 2000, and I think the least is 7, rank 7, which is vermicelli, which is just 200. If I come to dinner, for example, the topper is milk. Like every day I have milk for sure, so that is the highest. Then when I come to lunch, curd rice is leading the way, right? More than 4000 calories, right? And in snack category, also there is milk. So I drink milk a lot, both for evening and night. So milk is the topper again, rank 1, right? So this is how you could partition by time of day and based on intake do the rank. There's also dense rank, like method equal to dense, just play around with it. But this is one way to showcase, okay, in each time of day, what was the food that had the highest amount of intake overall across this 2 week time period. Okay. Next one, a simple plotting question. Plot the time of day category and the overall calories using uh, plotting function. Okay. So for this, we can just go to ChatGPT and ask plot package matplotlib how to import. Suppose you don't even know the function, for example, it should ideally give you some sort of an answer. Import matplotlib as pyplot, right? I could come here and copy that. So this is plotting. I'm going to give the name. Okay. Now what do I want to do? Each time of day total calories. So we have done this multiple times. I'll simply say plot data. This is nothing but combine data dot group by, right? I want to group by time of day. Step number 1. Calories is now called as intake dot sum, right? So if I see plot data, it will be like this. Okay. Now if I want to actually plot this, what I can do, you can see plt.bar. If I want to show a bar graph, I can say plot data dot index. Index is nothing but the time of the day and also plot data dot values. Okay, values is the values we have. So if I run this, I'll be able to plot, right? Okay, I see breakfast, dinner, lunch is where I have the most intake, right? Simple way to plot. You can also see ways like how to add x-axis, y-axis and all, right? Try with ChatGPT, but this is a simple way to plot, right? So you import the package, do the group by, and then you say plt, which is nothing but this package, dot bar, want to plot a bar graph, plot data dot index. Index will be the time of day, values is the calculation, right? The sum of intake that we did. This is how you can do simple plotting. One more question. Write a code to find rows which contain name pasta, right? So I think there is pasta somewhere. If I scroll down, you see. So you want to see the rows where there is pasta. How can we do that? I can create a new column, combine data of, let's say, check pasta. Okay, you can give whatever name you want. So I can say combine data of this item column, right? It should contain, right? The string should contain pasta. So I'm going to say string dot find of pasta. And now if I run this, you'll see mostly -1, right? Wherever it is not found, wherever it is found, there will be some value, right? So how can we try and do that? So I'll say combine data of check pasta, right? This column, wherever it's greater than 0, right? Wherever it's not -1, let's see what we get. Okay, there's like literally no value like that, right? That's a bit weird. Let's check. Let's say not equal to -1. Okay, yeah, okay, it shows 0 here, right? So it's able to find it at the 0th place. That's why, we should not put greater than 0, but should put not equal to -1. Only two values, right? I think on 2nd Jan and 7th Jan I had dinner as pasta, right? It was able to locate that. That is that question. Now coming to few general questions beyond the data set. A little bit about loops we will see. Write a for loop to display only multiples of 5 starting from 5 all the way to 45, right? I want to show 5, 10, 15, 20, so on till 45. So for that, let me just add a few more lines of code. So how can we do multiples of 5? You write a simple for loop. So you can say for I in range, you can begin it at 5, take it all the way up to 45 in steps of 5. Okay, and in each of these cases you want to just print the I, right? Print the value. Here you will get only till 40, right? Because whatever you include here, it will check only till one number before that. So here it will go only till 44. So before 44, the closest multiple of 5 is 40. So if you want to show till 45, you can increase this by one number. Now you'll show 5, 10, 15, 20 all the way up to 45, right? So simple for loop you can use to show the multiples of 5 all the way up to 45. Same way, for loop to display squares of numbers from 1 to 9. So very simple, I can just copy the similar formula, squares of 1 to 9. Okay, so here what I have to do, I have to start with the number 1, go all the way up to number, I want to show till 9, so I will say 10, and in steps of 1, that is okay, and print the square of the number. So I will say print I into I, that will show 1, 4, 9, 16 all the way up to 81, right? I into I means I square, right? So for each number, whenever I is 1, it will show 1, y is 2, it will show 2 into 2, which is 4, and so on. Since I put 10 here, it will go all the way up to I equal to 9. When I equal to 9, it will show 9 into 9, that is 81. We get that, right? Then one more question, write a simple code to declare a variable a as 8 and write an if statement to say if the value is greater than 8 or not. So this is if statement. So they say declare a as 8, and I will write, so if a is greater than 8, then I will say print a is above 8. Okay, simple. And then I can put else condition. So else, what should I print? I will print a is not above 8. Okay, now let me execute this code, and it will say a is not above 8. As you know, a greater than 8 condition won't work, the else condition is working, right? If I put a is 6, again A is not greater than 8, so the else condition will work. A is not above 8. Okay. If I put A as 13, then if A greater than 8 condition is true, A is greater than 8, so it should show A is above 8. Right. So you can play around. This is how you can write a simple if and else. Make sure this I and E are aligned in the same line. That is very, very important. Okay. One final question. Declare a simple list with B with 4 values 0, 1, 2, 3. Write a for loop using try and except for running I values from 0 to 6. Whenever there is no value, print value unavailable. What does this even mean, right? Looks a bit complicated. Let's see, right? So this is a list question. So they asked us to create a list B with 4 values 0, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, step number 1. So I'm going to execute this. Okay. Now within a list, if I want to read an element, if I say B of 0, it will read the first element, that is 0. If I say B of 1, it will read the second element. What is second element? It is 1, right? If I say B of 2, it will read the third element, that is 2, right? That is how a list works, right? List index starts from 0. Now they want to show us these values and run it in a for loop for I ranging from 0 to 6. Okay, so you notice if I write B of 3, it will show the fourth value, that is 3. But if I write B of 4, it will show index error, right? Because B of 4 means the fifth value in B. B has only 4 values. There is no fifth value, so it shows index error, right? So we have to be careful. Just going to change this to something else. Now, if I write for loop, right, for I in range, they want from 0 to 6. I'm just going to put like this, right? And they want us to print the value within B, right? So I'll say print B of I. If you notice here, so when I is 0, B of 0 is 0, right? I is 1, B of 1 is 1. I is 2, B of 2 is 2. I is 3, B of 3 is 3. But when I becomes 4, B of 4 is not there. It's an index error. That is what is showing up. And they are saying use try and except statement to remove the index error and say when there is no value present, print value unavailable. How can we do this? So for this, we have to add this in a try and except statement. So first you will say try, right? Wherever there is no error, in those cases, the for loop should work, right? Make sure they are aligned. Step number 1. So I'm printing B of I, right? In the cases where there is a problem, there is an index error, you can say except index error, right? Wherever there is index error, in those cases, you can simply print what they are saying, value unavailable or something like that. Okay. Now let's see what we get. Now we get value unavailable, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3 is coming, that is great. But when I becomes 4, B of 4 is not there. Since value is not there, it shows value unavailable. This is better than showing an error. So you can use try and except for these cases where there is some specific type of error like index error. Okay. So what I will be doing is I will share the link to this whole notebook, right? You can play around with the code. I will also upload the data sets. Please upload them as CSV and then use this code to start reading them. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you again in another video. Till then, take care. Bye.